yesterday.
See,
Yeah, sorry about the circumstances.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming in such short notice. Sleepless night last night, guys, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
It's really concerning.
I wish we could meet under better circumstances, but we're glad we're still here so we can help you in these times.
Yeah, I hope you weren't waiting too long, and Mr. Levine took care of you.
Oh,
Some
absolutely.
coffee and
Absolutely.
donuts out there.
Yeah, no, he's been great. He
Perfect.
asked him yesterday for some of your contracts, policies, and
Man,
wide open. Yeah, seems like a great guy.
love to hear it. Great guy.
Alright, well, let's start. Is there any additional info we need about this claim that you haven't already told us?
Not about the claim.
Okay.
No, not about the claim.
Alright, well, let's start off, addressing your claim. So this is a relatively common for our agency. We've dealt with a lot of claims very similar to this, so you're in good hands. Insurance companies, as you might know, love to point fingers. They do not want to pay out a large claim, so there will be three parties, insurance parties involved in this case: the convenience stores insurer, your subcontractor and installation insurer, as well as your own insurer, and their legal teams and claims adjusters will determine who is liable, and if, God forbid, they cannot determine that, there will be a third-party arbitrator, claims adjuster, that will come in and make that determination.
This process can take a few months too, with all the pointing fingers, determining liability and everything. So.
Some more sleepless nights, guys?
No, you got it covered because
Gotcha.
yeah, but with the circumstances we know, it seems like everything will work out fine in your favor.
Okay.
So, but we're
Okay.
gonna get into that.
Alright, I like the sound of that.
Yeah. No, we should be good.
Okay, so the most likely scenario that we think will be determined by the claims adjusters is that they will determine that the lightning strike was the cause of this loss, and in that case, the convenience store's property coverage would come into effect, and their insurance party would cover this loss.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, because, I got the email, then I get a letter, then I get a phone call from the contractor saying, IQL, you guys are at fault. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened. And so, but yeah, he's pointing the finger at my firm, and I'm like, oh, wait. So that's why the sleepless night last night, getting you guys engaged early this morning, because it really threw me for a loop.
Absolutely. Like you said, it's fairly common. Obviously,
Okay.
insurers love pointing fingers, so.
That's interesting. You guys seem to take it in stride, where I don't know how my current guy would take it.
Oh, well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, we've dealt with plenty of these claims. I mean, obviously, this is a very stressful time for you, and we've dealt with plenty of business owners in the same situation, so you're in good hands.
We have an excellent claims personnel back at our office too, so very familiar with the territory.
Okay, so the next most likely outcome we believe is not as probable, but there is definitely a chance of this. Also, a good outcome for you, you shouldn't be too worried, is that the vendor or installer would be held liable because they would be determined to be negligent in their installation process.
Okay.
The retrofitting. Yeah.
And that would be,
I mean, that's what we did to that canopy. I mean, we retrofitted with new LED, and unfortunately, now we're seeing the results of that.
Yeah, and if that was the case and the adjusters determined that that was the cause of the loss, then your subcontractor's CGL policy would come into effect, and that would be who pays out the claim. As you told us yesterday, you're an additional insured on their policy, and you also have a hold harmless agreement. So in this case, there's pretty much no way you should be held and financially responsible or liable in any way.
Okay, I like the sound of that. It looked better, right?
Yeah. Always.
And last scenario, we believe this is very implausible, but slight chance it happens. This is the worst outcome, but don't fret, it's not too horrible. So in this case, if neither the subcontractor is held negligent or lightning is the case, and they determine that you are liable for the case, this would come out of your CGL policy, and it would erode your each occurrence limit as well as your products and completed operations limit. But your insurer and we agree that this is not the case and that you should not be held liable. So in this instance, if this did occur, the insurer would subrogate against the subcontractor, and basically your insurer would have to pay the claim out, but then once they subrogate, your limits will be replenished, so you still have coverage after the subrogate.
It would basically be like nothing ever happened. Honestly, with the combination of the lightning that occurred, the peril, and the retrofitting, probably negligence on that part, two of those things happening at the same time, IQL's out of the picture.
Okay,
Honestly.
all right.
Once again, it might take a few months. You might get a letter waiver. You might get a letter saying that, you know, they're investigating the claim and everything, but no worries. If, any new information comes out, just let us know, and we're here to help.
Okay, all right, well, you know, again, that's concerning. I don't know what happened. If I'm at fault, then certainly I want it to be taken care of, but if I'm not, I don't want to be held responsible for something that, you know, we didn't
Yeah,
cause.
no, absolutely. We don't think you will be. Let me ask you, does, the current insurer, do they have claims personnel out in the Midwest where it occurred, or is it, would it be like a TPA, third party administrator?
Yeah, I think it's all independents. I
All
don't think they
independents?
actually have
Okay.
on-site staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll talk to your, front office guy again and see if he can
Yeah,
give us where
Mr.
the contact
Lee.
information is gonna be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can sort it all out and everything.
Yeah.
So I once again, I think it's all good.
Okay, all right.
We have our own in-house claims team, so, you know, we can get them to go out and look at this and see what they think, you know, and see if they think, you know, what we think.
So even though you're not my agent, you guys would offer that service?
Keep them busy. Claims personnel. Give them something to do.
Yeah.
Also,
Wow.
so, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Is there any questions you have regarding any of these three outcomes or anything else regarding this claim?
No, I think you've laid it out there right. I hope the outcome is, you know, sort of what you said.
Mhm.
You know, it's good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah, no, it's, once again, it's been very optimistic on your part.
Okay.
All right, so now, yesterday we went over a few of our recommendations and coverages, cover your loss exposures. Luckily, we had time to put together a little preliminary proposal for you.
Oh,
if you
wow.
want to look it over.
Okay. It's even got my name on it. I like it.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, so if you want to turn to page 1, we already talked about this. You already have your standard property policy.
Okay.
That'll pretty much be the same thing. Like I said, we're going to do the agreed value replacement cost. With the agreed value, like I said before, there will be a statement of values attached to that. So basically be appraised and you should be covered adequately for that exposure. We talked about the flood coverage. Like I said yesterday, NFIP will shop that market. Building would be a $500,000 limit. The personal property is usually $250,000, but we can boost that up to $500,000. And then for any supplementary coverage, we'll shop the private market for that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so the next page, we have 2 different business interruption policies here. You already said you had your standard business income extra expense coverage for IQL. And then like we talked about yesterday, I think CBI, contingent business interruption coverage, would be a great supplement to that for that one key supplier of the electrical components. If anything were to happen to their building and they can't manufacture that component, you obviously can't sell on your end. So it'll cover the loss of income for that.
Okay, because that'll put me in the bind.
Absolutely.
Especially with the expansion that
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about, you know, further out west.
Mm-hmm.
And just, again, I want to throw this at you to be transparent. I didn't think it would happen this quickly, but we went ahead and closed on a piece of property in Kansas.
Oh,
And we're gonna build a new manufacturing facility. So we're gonna have 2 now, one in Panama City and one in Kansas.
Okay.
So I am gonna have to talk to some folks, just like you're talking about here, about some insurance requirements, some of the things I need to be thinking about, as I cost that out,
Mm-hmm.
because there's certainly gonna be insurance
Oh,
on
absolutely.
some of this, right?
Yes,
And we're getting away from my hub, which is Panama City,
Mm-hmm.
going to Kansas, where I'm, you know, I don't know what the risks are in Kansas.
Lots of tornadoes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, really?
My dad's actually from Kansas City. I mean, he was used to it. He slept through tornadoes all the time when he was younger. I don't know how he did it, but yeah, he's pretty exposed to that. But yeah, we have relationships with wholesale brokers, cover the builder's risk. On your property policy, additional coverage is newly acquired premises. So that will probably help out. That's only for a period of 30 days, but obviously, you know, we just stay in touch and we'll
Right,
figure
because
it
I don't
out.
know how long it's gonna take
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get that thing off the
Exactly.
ground.
Exactly.
Probably many trips from Panama City to Kansas, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So great that you let us know this. We, on the PPP policy, we're recommending a blanket limit, and this would actually, it's a higher limit that would cover both of these properties, and as well as both these properties and the personal property within both your manufacturing plants.
Yeah, it'll be combined when deductible applies. It really just makes the whole claims process easier on your end.
Interesting,
Insurers'
okay.
end. It's a win for everybody. So yeah, that covers the business interruption. Next, you indicated, we talked about equipment breakdown. Obviously, you purchased new equipment recently. You want to get that evaluated and everything. Some perils involving equipment aren't covered on the property policy like we talked about.
Right.
And you also indicated you wanted the insurance agreements we would recommend, because it comes with about 7 or 8 insurance agreements. So the property damage insurance agreement, exactly what it sounds like. Expediting expenses, If something were to happen to your equipment, it covers the expenses just to replace that temporarily.
So if I had to overnight something,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something remanufactured, that would cover that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Same thing too, there's contingent business interruption for your supplier's equipment, if anything were to happen to them. Same situation applies. You indicated that some of your neighbors yesterday had utility interruption in the area.
No doubt.
We'll add that to the policy, and then ordinance for law, that really just involves building code, how the manufacturing equipment's made. If your municipality or county changes that, it'll cover the extra expenses to make it adequate. And then we said you have that property transit exposure, even though it's not building exposure. You have the common carriers, but you indicated they carry their own cargo coverage.
Right.
So you should be good on that end. We just added in the recommendations to make sure that it's there. If you have any new contracts with shippers, make sure they have the motor truck liability, and if not, we can do a transit policy. But once again, just get in touch with us.
Again, as I expand,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get outside my comfort zone a little bit.
absolutely.
And maybe add some more vendors. So
Absolutely.
you're saying I need to consider these types of coverages with a new vendor?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And obviously, best case scenario, they're liable for the cargo. If not, though, these are just two backdrops.
Okay.
For that.
Alright,
So the next one, general liability, you indicated you already have this policy, not too many changes. They have three coverages, A, B, and C, which I'm sure you already know. The only change we're thinking about making is the products and completed operations aggregate, which should be up to 2 million. Once again, the claim scenario you had last night, today, if something were to happen, you were held liable. You're gonna want a lot of products completed operations limits. So that will cover that. And later on, we'll get into talking about umbrella, which is also a great supplement to this.
okay, alright.
General liability continued. You said obviously you have the exposures with your vendors, both the subcontract installation and the shippers. We already talked about the shippers. You indicate you already have a hold harmless agreement in your additional insurer.
Right.
So we already discussed that with the claim issue that's going on right now. So you should be good. And we talked about yesterday about the manufacturer's E&O endorsement. So using the same claim issue, just a little bit different scenario.
Okay,
If there wasn't, there was obviously property damage involved.
Right.
If there was no property damage involved and there was something wrong in your manufacturing and you're held liable for that, and the lighting, switched off randomly or shorted at the convenience store location,
okay,
they obviously have to shut down for a few days. There's financial loss. It would cover you for that.
oh, interesting.
So I think that would be a great supplement. We also have a little bit of commercial auto exposure. You said you might rent cars for your business occasionally. So
Occasionally,
yeah. So we're going to have hired auto coverage there. Both of these can be attached to your CGL as an endorsement. And then for your 3 to 5 sales reps, if they're traveling to a client's office, like we talked about yesterday, you'll need the non-owned auto coverage for that, because it'll be held vicariously liable.
Now, my truck is in the company business,
Okay.
so, but I have it insured personally.
You have it insured
Right.
personally.
My personal policy.
Yeah, we have what's it called, a drive as you go
Yes.
endorsement. Yeah, so it would cover that
Okay.
for your personal life and your business life.
Okay.
Yeah, we can definitely make that adjustment.
So I wouldn't need a commercial auto policy.
You could do commercial auto policy just, as a LLC, I believe you are. It's a whole reason why you're LLC, you separate your personal liability from your commercial liability. So then by doing that, you're kind of combining.
Okay.
And it just makes sense. I always recommend that. You
Okay.
separate that.
Okay.
And then next is don't worry about the employer's liability. We talked about workers' compensation.
Right.
Pretty straightforward. Need that statutory liability. Let's cover that. And then lastly is the umbrella coverage. 3 different functions, additional limits above the each occurrence limit if that were to get eroded. It takes place with the primary coverage when the aggregates are exhausted, and it can sometimes offer broader coverage, so it'll drop down.
The traveler's umbrella?
Yeah, exactly. I guess, yeah, that's a good metaphor. It offers broader coverage, that'll drop down if it's broader, but in that case, there might be a higher deductible.
Okay.
But once again, better to be covered than not covered for that. So this would also come in handy if you were held liable for,
Okay. Alright.
the claim circumstance.
If you were allowed for this, your products and completed operation limit definitely would be eroded. I mean, we would definitely are recommending that you increase the aggregate on your products and completed operations, but the umbrella is a safeguard, so you will not be held liable after your primary windsurf.
Okay.
And obviously you have that speed box at the sports stadium. Our legal team's still looking into that, but we recommend host liquor liability.
Okay.
So if you like what you've been hearing, we would love to move forward with you. We think you're a great fit for our company, and if you like our proposal, those are like.
Yeah, I mean, I like the sound of that. You know, I want to be fair to everybody. I'm interviewing 5 different brokers.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be fair to everybody.
Okay.
Make sure I'm making the right choice.
Of course.
I mean, what you're telling me today sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm close to making a decision, but I'm not quite there yet.
Okay.
So-
When are you meeting with the other brokers?
As soon as you guys leave.
Soon as you guys leave.
We'll show in the next group.
All right. Yeah. I mean, if you don't mind, give us a call to see how it goes and
Okay.
see what we can offer.
Okay.
Keep us in the loop, and
I'll do it.
we're gonna get our policy set, and eventually we will be able to send you over all of the prices of the policies, and we'll have each sublimit listed so you can see what each endorsement costs, and you can pick and choose what you think is necessary for you.
Obviously, we're here to recommend.
Perfect.
On the side.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. No problem. It's good seeing you.
Good seeing you.
It all works out.
Yep. If you need anything, Mr. Levine's out there to help.
Perfect.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. Take care.
That's it.